excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
No Dustin Nielson today. It is two Matts and a goalie edition of Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction, foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become part of their team. gsconstruction.ca and click ready to work, or visit the page at indeed.ca with the Next Person Up program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it's a career. That's going to be the end of me, Gage. This little notification.
I love that it keeps popping up. You've tried to pick a time. You've snoozed it. Tomorrow.
We're going to do this tomorrow. Matt Awanek, Joaquin Gage live at Commonwealth Stadium. Matt Kassian with us here as well. We're live at Commonwealth. We'll get all that right away. But with this setup, we have this Windows computer, and it keeps wanting us to restart it. And I keep trying to get it to go away, but it keeps popping up, and it just wouldn't leave me alone. And as I was reading the GS Construction liner, of course, it popped up. And I don't know if you could hear it, Cass. I hope you couldn't. But for Gager and I, it was really, really annoying. How are you today, Cass?
I'm good. Say it's the dress up day in the office. I am not dressed up, as you can tell. So I took some heat for that. Still taking some heat for it. There's a big lunch going on. So if you hear lots of yelling in the background, it's just people having fun and voting on costumes, of which mine will receive no votes because I did not dress up today. But we're good. Should be a fun pregame show tonight. Should be hopefully a fun postgame show tonight. And we'll take the kiddos to get some candy in the in-between. So it's setting up to be a good day here, fellas. It's setting up to be a good day indeed.
How old are the kids again?
9, 7, and 4.
Oh, so you could take a lot of like the 4-year-old candy. You're not getting any of the 9 and 7-year-olds.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know, because the older ones will advocate and will I doubt I get it, but we do. I use it as an opportunity to teach the kids about tax and government. That's so when they get home, they have to dump out, and I get to take more than half of everything. That's the plan. And when they're upset with it, I'm like, well, I know you girls were the girls that went to all the doors, but I'm the one that make sure that the house is clean and stuff, or my wife is. So we're taking half of it. So. And then after I take half of it, guys, I take half of the half that I took and I just throw it in the trash, just to make sure that they truly understand what's going on in wastefulness.
That's great. Cass has his daughters in different tax brackets.
Yep.
A very high tax,
depending on how much candy they get. Yep.
Yeah, you weigh them before you dump it on the floor. Well, this one is 10 pounds. This one's 8 pounds. So 10 pound went into the higher tax bracket.
Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. Good job.
Just teach them about life, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You just, that is the standard thing. You dump the candy down and dad gets to go through and pick what he needs.
Yeah. Or take it later when they're asleep. Do you do the Jimmy Kimmel thing, Cass?
I did. We did it once, but they figured it out now. Where you like take a bunch of wrappers and leave them out, and then you hide their candy and you make it seem like you ate all their candy while they're sleeping. And they always reacted pretty well, like mine did to it, but they're on it now. I can't run with that anymore. Like, they know immediately that something's up. Even the other day, so we had went out to dinner for my birthday, and my one daughter got the burger with her dinner, but she only ate about half of it, so she wanted the rest for her lunch for school the next day. And so she's sitting down for breakfast in the morning, and I kind of got to do that. I was like, honey, while you're sleeping, your dad got really I was getting hungry, and she just I couldn't even get the rest of the joke out, like telling her that I ate her burger. And she just turns to me. She's like, Dad, stop. I know you didn't eat my burger. And then just goes right back to her breakfast. And I'm like, I hadn't even got to the part where it was about her burger yet. She already knew what I was running with. So they're wise to it now, guys. I can't pull that joke on them anymore.
Do you handle candy? Because you're going trick or treating, so it'd be harder. Do you handle candy or do the bowl?
Well, I think last year was kind of the first year I didn't actually go out, or maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, so I sit at home now and wait for it's weird because I'm right beside a school, and you'd think there'd be tons of kids, but we're kind of on a cul-de-sac-y thing, and I think kids kind of look at our street and don't realize they're not really maximizing time per candy intake, so we don't get a lot. I did see what was hilarious this morning as I went out to walk the dog. There were kids obviously going to the school, and there was like 5 kids that all had that alien abduction costume. So it looks like a big alien is carrying them away. And so they were all running down the street, and it looked like they were being carried away by aliens. God, that was funny. But no, the school looks, it's fun to see all the kids in their costumes and stuff. They went nuts, actually. I don't know there's a new principal there. But the costumes at the school by my house are fantastic today.
I had a costume on earlier. I was a green crayon.
I saw
being
that.
at Commonwealth, I had to make a quick change. I don't think it would go well walking through the place, the offices here with the Edmonton Elks in a green Crayola costume. Although, there's a lot. But
there's a lot.
There's some nice ones here. This is Two Guys and a Goalie live on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, as well as on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We will get to the Oilers game as they are taking on the Nashville Predators. 5 o'clock GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show tonight. Gazzola, Hernan, are you on today, Cass? Or
I am. Yep,
okay.
I am on today. Yep, absolutely.
So they'll get you covered for Oilers Preds. We will talk about that as well. But quickly, Gager and I are here at Commonwealth Stadium because ESD Afternoons is here with Gager and Hernan, because at 2 o'clock, the Edmonton Elks will have Chris Morris announced or introduced as the new president of the Edmonton Elks. As we're setting up, him and Rick Lawless are already walking the offices, so we're able to see him. He's already getting a customer looking around at his new digs that he'll be working at, Chris Morris. We will bring it to you live at 2 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. For the two of you guys, though, this is a big deal for Elks fans, with big talking points since the new owner was announced and Larry Thompson, who's going to be the president. Within a locker room, does a president does a hiring get to a locker room, or is the president so far removed from a team that it really doesn't matter to them fully? I'll start with you, Cass.
Listen, I like when people have a familiarity and a history with the team, and I like, despite being removed for a couple of years or doing something else, you care about organizations, you care about the people, you care about the city, you care about the fans because you were part of it and you felt what it meant to be in that room and on that field. And I think it's a good thing. I don't know if that fully answered the question. I was clicking through and pulling up all my news. So sorry, but that's
no, I think it in this kind of situation, it as a player, I think it would it means a lot. We had Jamin on our show yesterday, and he was talking about how it for some players it's there's probably going to be a lot of moving pieces. Obviously, a new GM, looks like possibilities of a new coach, all these positions that will be filled. A chance to make an impression for the first time again. So if guys kind of lights the fire, and maybe if certain players didn't have a fresh start, if they do come back to the Elks next year, and so yeah, I think it's exciting when you see new people take over.
Do you guys ever see the president throughout the year, or is that just then completely far removed? Christmas,
the party, one or two parties throughout the year, maybe a visit in the dressing room where they ask you, can you go get me a Gatorade, thinking I was part of the training staff, but that was probably about it.
It all depends. I think it all depends on the team. you would see them on road trips sometimes. Like they'd be on some road trips on occasion. They'd be around the rink on occasion along special events. So you see them. I think they're active, and it just depends on if they hold any other roles in the organization as well. Because sometimes they do. Sometimes it's multifaceted. So it just kind of depends on the team.
And before we actually now get to the Oiler game, did you guys have good Halloween parties in your time in hockey? Was this a good time to like get a nice little team bonding party going? Like obviously, I'm assuming some of the stories can't be mentioned, but was Halloween a major time where everyone got together, had a big team costume party?
I loved it. It was I think I was a monk the one time, and that got away from us pretty good. It was more so the wives had way more fun than the guys did, because most of the married guys had to look after their wives because it was full green light. I probably shouldn't. Whatever. Ethan Morrow's wife, Ornella, she got after it the one night, and he was like, I think he was Barney and she was Betty from the Flintstones, and she looked great, but she was dancing and stuff and banging people with the club, and it was a really fun time, because most of the times you don't get to see people kind of let loose and have fun and smile and laugh. So yeah, I think it's a good time, not only for the guys, but for the families to get together and have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those times, like oftentimes NHL teams and their families, it's like you don't always have Thursday off, right? Where you have the ability, usually you're not doing it on that day, you're doing it on a different day, which usually means, you're not going out anywhere because you look like an idiot. Like if you're going out somewhere together and you're all dressed up and it's like, Saturday, or if it's like the Wednesday before or the Tuesday before, it's like people would probably look at you, rightfully so, a little bit funny. But so the thing I like about those parties, because that's not my scene anyways, isn't like the big going out scene. It's like I'd way rather be over at someone's house in that environment, having fun with everybody and just kind of having it small and condensed for me to see everybody. And that's usually what those parties are. So they're generally pretty fun. There's a lot of guys. We talked about this last episode with Reed Wilkins when he was on, about some of the costumes that we've seen. But it's kind of fun. People get to be creative a little bit. You get a little bit of you need to see a little bit of personality, and it's a good time for a lot of guys to let their hair down. So I like it. It's a good thing. Good opportunity for guys to get together and hang out.
Oilers Preds, that is coming up tonight, like we said, 6:00. With the Oilers playing their first game without Connor McDavid this season. It's not the first time that they've played without Connor McDavid, but for this year, we know the ankle injury, 2 to 3 weeks. Gage, what do you expect? What do you want to see from this team tonight? And is this just Leon Draisaitl? We're looking at him. He needs to step up because he's guy number 2. He's the second best player on this team. It's his time to carry this team because Connor's not around. Yeah,
I want to see Leon distinguish himself as the best player on the Edmonton Oilers, but also I want to see this is kind of a rallying point. I think this could be one of those, we talk about it throughout the year, those points of the season where it galvanizes a team and creates something special. We still haven't seen a full 60-minute game, I don't think, from the Edmonton Oilers, and I think that's what I would want to see from all these guys, taking who's going to step up. Everyone's got to take a little bit more responsibility, but just a full team 60 minutes, not just pressing cheating on the offensive side of the puck. I want to see an all around really good game. You've seen guys have good games, but not the full team yet. And I think this is a unique opportunity for everyone to come together and win as one.
Cass, who's someone that, in your eyes, you would really like to see that this is their time to step up beyond the Leon Draisaitl?
Beyond Leon. Clearly Leon's the guy that's going to have to do it. Zach Hyman, through and through. Not that he hasn't, I don't think he's played horribly, but he hasn't found a way to put the puck in the back of the net. And to me, with Connor McDavid out, you're a guy that's a 50-goal scorer, and I know a lot of that is with Connor, but you haven't found a way to score yet this season. And for me, it's like, okay, if there's a guy that in McDavid's absence needs to find a way to actually put the puck in the back of the net to generate offense, to me, Zach Hyman is the guy at the top of that list. Now, Leon Draisaitl, he's right there too, maybe in front of him. But we all knew that. And so outside of Leon, yeah, Zach Hyman's a guy. I don't think he's played horrible, but he hasn't found a way to put the puck in the back of the net. And today in Nashville, an opportunity for him to step up and do so.
So the lines that we have for the Edmonton Oilers that were from yesterday, I believe, Draisaitl in between put Colson and Arvidsson, Nugent Hopkins with Skinner and Hyman, Henrique in between Janmark and Brown, Philp with Kajula and Perry, defensively Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse with Dermott, Kulak and Emberson, and Cal Pickard will get the start. Before we get to some of the other forward players, Cal Pickard. The Edmonton Oilers, they last played Monday. They don't play again till Sunday. Gage, would you like this going to Pickard here, or is this just with all this time off, would rather see a Stuart Skinner get back in that net?
Interesting move. I thought like this is although Stuart Skinner didn't have a great game last game, he's your number one guy. I thought you would see him get into action tonight. Pickard Sunday, and then coming back the back-to-backs against Jersey on the Monday night, I believe is what the schedule has in store. So this, to me, anyways, this is a kind of a shot across the bow of Stuart Skinner to find a little bit more consistency in his game. I've said it before. He needs to be one of those goalies that if you have a bad period, he's able to keep your team within striking distance, or you come out of that period tied, and then your team can roll from there. And we saw Calvin Pickard do it a few in Detroit, where he was fantastic in that first period. I think that game could have gotten away from the Oilers. But then we moved down to Columbus, where, the team wasn't good, and I'm not putting this at the feet of Stuart Skinner in that game. But as a goaltender and as a number one goaltender in the NHL, there are times when you are going to have to just raise the level of your game to keep your team in it when they just don't have it, especially first periods on road games. So
you see this though more as a message sent to Stuart Skinner and not a plan. Maybe Chris Knobloch on a schedule is sitting here going, well, we need to get a certain amount of Skinner rest, Pickard starting. You see this more as, okay, the performance just hasn't been there from Knobloch, and he's going, hey, Stuart, I need you to be a little bit better.
Definitely. I just looking at the schedule, most back-to-backs last season, I'm just going on last year, right? But most back-to-backs, we'd see both of them. We wouldn't see one goalie playing both games. Maybe that's the plan. I find it being on the road Sunday and then coming home Monday. I know it's only Calgary and there's not much travel, but still, it's puzzling to me, the fact that Stuart Skinner isn't playing this game against Nashville.
Cass, do you see it the same way?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. Now, that being said, we've seen Knobloch make some decisions before where he's trying to challenge players. And maybe it is a little bit of a challenge to Stuart Skinner to say, hey, we do want more from you. We thought you could be better, and here's an opportunity for that. Now, also on the flip side, it is very possible that this was scheduled from the start, and that you look at this and you go, okay, and I know we've talked about this before, we need Pickard or want Pickard to play in the realm of 30 to 32 games, right? Like you want Skinner to play 50 to 55. And so when you're looking at this, you might be saying, well, here's an opportunity to get Stuart Skinner longer periods of rest where he can have rest, he can work in practice, they can do more work after practice, before practice, like he can get his reps in to work on what he needs to work on without having too much of a game load. So it's possible that that's what it is as well. That being said, I'm a little surprised. I did think he was going to get the start against the Nashville Predators, but hey, maybe something else is going on that we don't know about.
Once again, GCLT's All Stream pregame show with Tommy, Hernan, and Cass gets going at 5 o'clock as they will eat into Reed and Jay's show today. I went through the Oilers lines a little bit earlier. Did anything stand out to you guys? What do you guys make of putting Colson joining Draisaitl on a line?
I mean, he's been okay as well. I think you could say that throughout the lineup, they've just been okay. There is a little bit more of a physical presence. He's looking to play a little bit, finish his checks at least. And he's had some chances to score, but you could say that for about a handful of guys with the Edmonton Oilers right now. I think he's earned it. Interesting to have him with Leon and Victor Arvidsson. Obviously, a huge opportunity here with the absence of Connor McDavid, especially for Podkolzin. So, if he can get on the board and even, I mean, I think he has 6 goals so far this season. If he can get Leon I'm not saying we haven't seen full Leon yet. He's had the birthday game was quite good, but just on a regular basis, just being a very dangerous player. Maybe if they can find some sort of chemistry with Podkolzin's speed and Leon's puck distribution, maybe it can develop some chances in the offensive zone.
6 goals, 4 assists for Leon, 10 games played this season. So he's on pace for 82 points, not the custom that we're seeing over 100 at this moment right now. This is the Nashville Predators too. So this is if there's if you're not going to have Connor McDavid and you want to get Leon going a little bit more, could you get a better opponent for this team right now than possibly the Nashville Predators?
No, puts them in the right headspace. At the least, you have to think mentally heading into the game. He's like, yeah, I could score against these guys. I play well against these guys. Like mentally, he's set up, right? Like you got to tee it up with the Nashville Predators and just all the success that Leon has had against it. But guys, I was saying it a couple times. Podkolzin's been growing on me a little bit, slowly. Not at like a incredibly fast rate, but it's like I've appreciated his game, and I'm excited to see what he does here. Even more of an expanded role and an opportunity. Now, the big thing for him, I think, will just be keeping it simple on the ice and just giving the puck to Leon and not over deferring, I guess, and I just unnecessarily force it, but letting Leon make the plays and just working your way to open ice, digging pucks out of corners and trying to create some offense that way. So big opportunity for him and a huge opportunity for Leon to have a night against the team he, as mentioned, absolutely dominates historically.
I'm trying to see if I could quickly look at points, per game type thing. Against the Predators, he has 43 points in 27 games. The next, he has 46 points against the Ducks in his career, but that's in 33 games. 57 against the Flames in 46. He's got 52 against the Canucks, but that's in 45. The next closest might be the Jets. He has 43 points in 34 games. But it's just 43 points, 25 goals in 27 games. He's almost a point-a-game player or a goal-a-game player in his career against the Nashville Predators, and that's through 27 games, not like a little small sample size. So this is him going to be reclaim his status or continue his status as mayor. Go for re-election. We're in election season. He wants to be reelected as the mayor of Nashville. We'll see if he can go and do that tonight. Do either of you guys expect, what are you guys expecting from the 2 new call-ups? Drake Caggiula's, first started in quite some time in the National Hockey. Noah Philp playing in this game. Cass, I'll start with you on this one. What are you expecting from them? Or is it more just don't do anything wrong?
Don't screw it up. Well, you know what? It's two different, I think, expectations. For Drake Caggiula, if he plays, for him, it's don't screw it up, right? He's played in the NHL before. He's a veteran guy, been around a long time. You know what you're here for. You're not here to, change the fortune of the NHL, Edmonton Oilers. You are here just to fill a hole. So don't screw it up. For Philip on the other side, he's a young guy that came in that had a great camp that was one of the better players on the Edmonton Oilers through training camp and really worked his way into being this first call-up for the Edmonton Oilers. You want to see him just go out and play. You're a bigger body that skates well, moves well. You want to see him transport the puck, play well down low. With that being said, at the same time, you still are going to have this big expectation of don't make mistakes defensively, because that's going to be so important because they've had so many mistakes defensively. They've had those big blowups. They've had those defensive breakdowns in structure where centermen, like last game, Derek Ryan chasing behind the net, getting caught behind the net, opening up things in front, guys rushing out of position, guys not communicating where they've had some of these issues. So you have to step in and you have to find a way to try to mitigate what you can, not let yourself be the reason that your team falls apart defensively on the ice. So, I want him to have the freedom to go out and play. At the same time, there's still going to be a pretty big amount of pressure on Philp to play a calm game, play a simple game, and to not make those mistakes defensively.
Yeah, the one thing I like about both of them was when during the preseason watching Drake Caggiula, he didn't look out of place at all. He looked like a regular NHLer, positionally transporting the puck through the neutral zone, still got some speed, a little bit of bite to his game. I don't know exactly how things went down in Baco, but I think he earned the initial call up, and you can say the same thing with Phil. He looked good, man. That's at the center position. I think there was one game where he kind of got eaten up on draws a little bit. He'll have to learn that. I'm more looking forward to seeing him in a real NHL game, right? We saw, you get to the end of preseason, the teams are look a little bit more like they would do in the regular season, but let's face it, it's still preseason, right? Now you're getting into an NHL game where, everyone's around that 10 game mark. So it's, everyone's flying pretty good out there. To see how his game can adjust to NHL speed, playing against other really good NHL centers. This will be a good test for the young guy.
Two Mats and a goalie edition of Two Guys and a Goalie right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Matt Iwanek, Joaquin Gage, Matt Kassian with you here. Gager and I are live right here at Commonwealth Stadium. It's coming up at 2 o'clock. Will be the Chris Morris press conference as he's introduced as the next president and CEO of the Edmonton Elks. For this game tonight, Oilers Preds, we do have an EST parlay up with Dusty down sick. I got one built with a little bit of the nasties and their help during the hangout. If you go to Coolbet, go to exclusives under specials. There's the EST parlay. Draisaitl 1+ goal. Jeff Skinner 3+ shots on goals. Bouchard 2+ shots on goals. And the Oilers to win is a +725. So again, that's Draisaitl 1+ goals. Jeff Skinner 3+ shots. Bouchard 2+ shots. And the Oilers to win. When I told the Coolbet boys yesterday that the two of them and Huss in a chat that Dusty won't be here for another few more days, they were so sympathetic for Dusty.
My God.
There was oh, poor boy, legitimately, oh, this poor guy, oh, we'll be there for Dusty. And it's this is sickening, boys. What are we doing here? Giving Dusty all this sympathy? No,
doesn't need it.
It was just absolutely disgusting what Pat, Jake, and Huss were doing in that chat there. I think they maybe learned from their mistakes. I do want to get to a report that Tom Gazzola had that he broke during the hangout today. Milne and Reed yesterday breaking the news of Chris Morris. Tom Gazzola breaking some news today. He tweeted out some early positive signs on Connor McDavid on his injury front. McDavid was on the ice for a skate this morning, testing out his ankle at the downtown community rink due to UFC and Arkells in town on the main rink. The Oilers announced yesterday 2 to 3 weeks. That's obviously him skating and putting a skate on. That's a pretty good sign that maybe not the full 3 weeks or something like that, Cass.
Maybe. I kind of still want it to be the full 3 weeks, and not because I want him to not get better and not get healthy, but I want to see him get all the way healthy. So it's it's good. Yeah. Positive thing, if it is a little bit of an ankle sprain, and that's what it is, and it's going to be a couple of weeks, to be able to put a boot on, get your foot in to go and kind of just go for a little twirl, I think is a good thing. But yeah, hey, I don't want to rush him back, right? The last thing you want is this to turn into a nagging issue where it's something that's bugging you all year, when you could just take an extra week and let it fully recover if that's the point you're at. So good sign that it's not overly serious, but let's not try to rush him back yet. Let's let him heal, let him get better, and hopefully the Oilers will be fine while they wait.
I don't know how the rink guy doesn't just tackle him or tell him, yeah, sorry, right, ice isn't available. Connor should be asking Leon for the keys to the place in Mallorca and just going and sitting there for next week and a half, okay? You don't have to worry about Connor McDavid's skating ability. That's not going to leave him. Wait, like you said, Cass, this thing has to get healed, right? I don't want to see him anywhere close to the ice, putting a skate on. Just wait the 3 weeks and reevaluate at that point how things are feeling. Make sure this thing is 100%. Though we've said it before, the Oilers are far too good they don't need him right now, right? They're much better served to wait till he's completely healthy and come back. They're a far good enough team to win games and stay competitive without Connor McDavid in the lineup.
Okay, part of that's going to come down to, because it's a great idea. I'm with you guys. Like, you want him to be as close to 100% when he's coming back as you can. I don't know how fully you could heal an ankle in a season, but it is going to be dictated based on how they're performing. Without him, you got the Preds tonight. You got, over the next few weeks, Flames, Devils, Golden Knights, Canucks, Islanders, Preds, Leafs, Habs, Sens, and Wild. That's exactly 3 weeks from today is that Wild game. Do you guys see that the Oilers could stay in a solid spot, which won't force the Oilers or McDavid to want to rush this back? Is that a schedule that scares you? Is that a schedule that you go, no, the Oilers should be able to manage that? Or you're sitting there, man, they'll definitely be fine. McDavid should get those keys and fly off in Daryl's private jet somewhere.
Yeah, and I should go with him. But no, man, I look at that schedule. Those are... Look, there's no easy nights in the NHL. If the first 10 games have taught us anything, teams are ready for the Oilers, except for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're the only team that weren't didn't prepare properly. But look, these are winnable games. They're games within the Pacific Division that are really important. Those 3 games right there with the next week with the Flames, Knights, Canucks. I don't want to say must win, but those are games where you can really start, advancing in that Pacific Division. I still think they're a good enough team to win those games. There's a lot of players. Canucks are without one of their big dogs with Thatcher Demko, right? It's going to be a tough test against the Vegas Golden Knights. They seem like they're back to their old ways and playing like a really good hockey team, but these are good measuring sticks. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think, you got to wait until those games against the Wild 3 weeks from now, and then kind of look and see where you're at.
That would be ideal. I bet that Connor is looking at that Toronto game on the 16th. And that's probably why he skated today, is he's looking at that going, I want to play in Toronto. And I bet internally in his own mind, that's his target, to be like, if I can be back by Toronto, I want to play in that game. Play out east, getting a chance to do that, playing in front of friends and family. I do not doubt for a second that that's in his mind is what he wants to do. Now, I don't think he should, and I don't really care who they're playing. I know there are some big divisional games, but it's on the team. Now, do I look at that? Should they be all right? Yeah, they should be all right if they can play and execute. But if they play like they did against Columbus, it doesn't matter if McDavid's in the lineup or not. Like, you're going to lose that hockey game every single time, or 9 times out of 10. So, the onus is on the rest of the team here not to worry about, be concerned with when Connor McDavid may or may not be back in the lineup. The concern should just be with yourself. How am I playing? How am I executing? How are we playing? How are we executing as a team? Because if you go out and you execute and you actually play how you need to play, then they're going to be fine. And it's not going to matter who you're playing, because generally if you play that way and you play at the level that the Edmonton Oilers are capable of, you're going to more often than not end up on the right side of it. And you may lose a game or two for sure, but let's be real, guys. If they play at the level, even without Connor McDavid, that they have the capacity for, they're going to come out of the time without him in a good spot from a record standpoint. But if they play like they did against Columbus, doesn't matter even if they had him. So,
so that to the Wild game, that's 11 games. From Nashville to that Wild game total, including that Wild game. The Leafs game there would be the 8th game of that 11. Yes. So if I set the over-under at 7.5 games, I'll set it at 8.5 games he misses. You taking the under, Cass, for that Leafs? If you had a guess?
Yeah, I'm taking the under.
Knowing Connor. Knowing what he's going to try to do. Like, we want to sit here and say, like, I agree with everything you say, Gager. We shouldn't be seeing him until the 21st of the 23rd, like that. But knowing Connor, knowing how this team has operated over the last number of years, like there was the report, last week or the week before, that Evander Kane might be good for January this year. When that, to me, cap purposes push, like, come on, guys. Yeah. What have we learned here the last few years? But if I set it at, so what did I have it? 8.5 over under. When does Connor come back in that line?
Oh, I'm going to say over. I think he's.
That's what you think. What do you think will happen?
Oh no, I think it'll be over.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more serious than what they're saying, first of all. And someone needs to Nancy Kerrigan and make sure that that's all done in January. Why?
Yeah, no, I'm taking the under.
Why?
I'm taking the under.
Yeah.
Under all day. Like I said, I think that Toronto game. That's like, listen, he was trying to skate already today a little bit. He's going to try to push it back. Like it just personality wise, the type of player he is. He wants to play. He wants to be out there. He wants to compete. So yeah, I think he comes back sooner. I don't think he should come back sooner, but I think he will.
The fact that he was on the ice today, just to me, that's where it's like I'm taking the under, but I would almost look at, like, they play the Islanders on the Tuesday prior to Toronto. I'm going to say he's there before the Toronto game even. He's going to get a couple of games in to be ready to go for that Toronto game. And he's really just knowing who Connor is. Also, we're going to hear him skating close to before next Saturday against the Canucks. But he's not going to be good to go, and he'll take a few more days, and he'll be there sooner than we're all thinking. And that's just what Connor does.
Does he have a Batha tank? Is that a Batha tank?
What's a back to?
Tank, yeah.
Back to tank, yeah. He's just sitting in there with his little light shorts floating up and down like Luke.
Yeah.
This is Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Let's get to hire it or fire it. Gager, Wanik live at Commonwealth. Cass in his office. Just got a couple things for hire it or fire it, which is brought to you by GS Construction, who are hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca, their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. One thing I've saw this week is apparently Darnell Nurse is being considered for the Four Nations Team Canada. Hired or fire it, Darnell Nurse should be in consideration for Four Nations this February for Team Canada. Hire it that he should be, fired he shouldn't be. Cass?
As much as I want him to be considered fired, I don't think he should be. Like, I don't think his play has justified it the last year. Now, 3 years ago, when he had that great season, signed that contract, yep, I think he should have been in consideration. I don't think his play the last season and a half justifies it. I don't think it does, but I could be wrong, and he could prove me wrong. I hope he does, but for right now, I gotta fire it.
Jeez, it's tough. I'm gonna hire it. Maybe he's 7th, 8th D. Selfishly, I think it'd be good for his confidence just to be on that team.
That's a good way of looking at it.
That's why I'm saying they should hire it, for him to be part of that, being around some of the other top defensemen in the league. Maybe he doesn't get into the lineup, but I think he can fit in around there.
Based on his play over the last, it just surprised me that we're hearing him when it comes to a Team Canada perspective, that there's not other names that you might be looking at. Could it not go possibly though the other way, that if he goes and he thinks that he's being considered as all these top defenders still, that like one of the things you want from Darnell Nurse is that physical playing, that physicality, being that mean guy that we just haven't seen enough of over the last little while from Darnell Nurse. If he's all of a sudden being with the likes of the top guys like a Cale Makar or something like that, maybe he looks at it the other way and goes, I am one of these guys. I am not a guy that doesn't have to come with that physical game.
Well, depending on when you're picking the team, what you envision the role for Darnell Nurse would be, I think it would be more on the physical side. I don't think they would be getting him there for any type of extra scoring punch. There'll be enough of that as it is. But he was part of one of the most successful penalty kills that we've seen here in Edmonton for a long period of time. I think that's what you kind of look at him as a shutdown guy, possibly late in games. But I mean, all those guys, the top 4 guys on this team, I mean, probably the top 5 or 6, they're out there last 2 minutes of a game in a 1-goal lead, right? But just increases the options. And like I said, I think it would be good for him to go.
Yeah, absolutely, it'd be good for him to go. I don't think there's a danger of him with that all of a sudden being like, oh, this means I should be more of a skill guy. And I think we have seen, and I will speak positively to that, I think we've seen Darnell Nurse start to try to embrace getting back to some of that physicality. Like he's been working to try to get that direction. So I will say that is a positive thing to get more of that in his game. I can see that he's been pushing for that and trying to do that more, which I think is a good thing. I think, we have to understand that his role on a team, Canada, isn't going to be that skill guy. Even if he's surrounded by skill guys, he's still going to be looked at in that as being like, no, you have some skill. Yeah, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. But, we have Cale Makar to go do Cale Makar things. We don't need Darnell Nurse to be Cale Makar. We need Darnell Nurse to be Darnell Nurse, which means you play aggressive, play physical, and play hard. So I don't think there's really a danger of that. And I agree, Gager, like if he were to be considered and if he were to go, I think it only benefits him and it only benefits the Edmonton Oilers. Again, I don't necessarily think he deserves to based on his play the last year and a half to 2 seasons. But if he were to be considered and if they were to bring him, I think it's a positive for him and a positive for the team.
Do you guys actually do you think you'll get excited for the Four Nations? Like we finally get to see best on best with these Four Nations. It's not all the nations. We've been wanting a best on best competition for some time. We are still 2 years away though or a year and a half, I guess now from the Olympics, although that's still not completely done, but it's getting close to being done. They've contrived this thing, but it's a chance to see best on best. Do you think you guys will be excited for the Four Nations when that comes?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, hire it.
Yeah,
I guess I could use that for hire. I'm going to use that. Hire it or fire it. You're hiring it.
I'm gonna hire it, and I think the biggest reason is 97 and 87. Right, that's what everyone wants to see. This could be the last time we. Hopefully, it's not.
What's the first?
First and last.
Right. Like it'll be the first time we get to see Connor McDavid with Sidney Crosby play for the same team. Yeah,
and it was pretty cool to see Sidney Crosby, the look in his face when he heard that Connor McDavid said, no, the captain is Sidney. Like that was it. You'd think Sidney Crosby go, yeah, of course I'm the captain. I'm Sidney Crosby. But he actually looked like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just he felt good about himself that someone of Connor McDavid's abilities mentioned him as the captain. So and Sid wants to play with McKinnon. I'm dying to see that line. That's right. That's just oh my god.
Like here's how I want to see it go. Four Nations, have fun.
Yeah.
Give us the dream combinations that we just want to go see. Olympics, it's all about winning.
Yeah.
Go get us that gold. We want the Canadian anthem. We want to win once again. But for this Four Nations, give me Connor, Bedard, and McKinnon at some point if Bedard's there. Give me those three guys, or give me Bedard with McDavid and Crosby, but then McKinnon with Crosby. I want McKinnon and McDavid. I just want all the fun combinations.
Yeah.
If you're John Cooper, how excited are you?
You have so many options,
right?
Yeah, so many options. It's like, it's like when you were a kid and you got a bunch of packs of hockey cards and you're like, oh, I'm going to put together and imagine a team and kind of put these guys with this guys and these guys with this guy. I don't know if you ever did that. I would do it and you kind of make up an imaginary team in your head with the cards you have from different guys and different teams. And it's exactly like that. Like you're looking at these guys just going I can do anything I want. And it is such a kid in the candy store situation. It's fantastic. So yeah, you're licking your lips. The biggest thing you're doing when you're looking at this is going just don't screw it up, or don't say something that makes someone angry where they don't play well. But it'd be fun. It is fun. It's fun for us to talk about.
I love it. I love when we get to these because we also know contracts are gone.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about the cap hit.
Yeah.
Or this player's X what on the cap. I don't care. It's just purely about hockey. We get to talk about the game of hockey and the best pairings. And just for Canada too, I don't care who the goalie is. Because they should be able to score goals.
Any of those goalies that we've mentioned before should be able to get their game to a level that's elite for that amount of time.
And if you need one goal, you need to tie the game late. You're pulling the goalie. Like the guys that John Cooper gets to look at and go, I'm going to pick you, and you. Go get me a goal.
Just don't put Gretzky in if there's a shootout. Jeez.
There better not be shootouts. Not at this tournament. Last one for hired or fired. I brought this up on the hangout a little bit. You both have houses. I do not, but I used to live in my parents' house, and I did take care of the lawn, so I do want that disclaimer. For Halloween, I'm strictly talking, there's only grass in between you and your neighbor's house, not flower beds, nothing else, but just grass. During Halloween, kids should be allowed to just walk across the grass to get to the next house, not have to walk all the way down to the street and come back up. Hire it or fire it. Kids should be able to walk on the lawn during Halloween.
Fire it. Get off my lawn.
Come on. They're just trying to get the most candy for the...
Get off my lawn. You got to work for it. You can work for it. You can work for it.
We want better things for our kids.
And they can learn how to work for things and put in effort. They can put in effort.
Oh,
and they can respect boundaries and not be selfish little imps. And I would tell that to my kids too. It's not one night of the year.
One night of the year. Let them go, because they could be very strategic about hitting as many houses as they can for candy, and they can work for it. You can be efficient and plan it. Be efficient by walking up and down the sidewalk. If there's no clear path marked in between the houses, no, get off my lawn.
He's an old bad man.
I know.
Cass, yeah. No, I actually I'm a little bit mad at my neighbor because I cleaned up the leaves, right? And he didn't clean up his. And I did this because of this situation with the kids coming across. They're just going to go to his place and track leaves all the way over to mine again. So it and usually if I cut my lawn, he'll come out a few hours later and do his catastrophe that's next door. But so I'm a little bit mad, but I cleaned it up for the kids. I don't mind. Just roll on it. I love sitting there and watching kids get out and run to the next house. Cass out there with a BB gun shooting kids.
No, they can run. They can run to the next house up and down the sidewalk. Like kids have enough these days that drives like a hedonistic, selfish, self-centered, it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me attitude. They can learn that by doing a little bit of hard work, like walking up and down a driveway, to get the benefit of something, that's experience that they need. So no, don't be disrespectful to people that you haven't got permission from to run across the lawns. You need to do things the right way, do things the hard way, because it's more worth it for these kids to get that experience. So
they're going to get the exact same amount of cardio. Obviously, they're going to get the exact same amount of cardio because they're going to hit more houses.
It's not about the cardio.
They're going to go get the more exercise. They're going to go long. Tonight's not about lessons. Tonight's about getting that candy.
It's always about lessons. It's always about lessons.
It's 364 days of the year. It's about lessons. Today's about the kids. Just let them have fun.
I'm letting them have fun, but they can have fun and they can learn.
Too much more.
The name of this show should be Cass Hates Kids. Because they're running, they've got their oversized suits on. You don't want these kids tripping and hurting themselves on the hard cement. If they're gonna fall, nice soft landing on my nice lawn, they get right back up. No needs for band-aids and hydrogen peroxide like Cass wants. It's a bloodbath over where Cass.
Sometimes it's a little cool out. They only have so much time. They you don't want them to be freezing out there. Get off my lawn over here. You and Lucas, both of you, the couple, no. Let the kids have their things. We only have a few more minutes left here on Two Guys and a Goal. Do you find that we're here at Commonwealth, Gager and I, Hernan's having a time.
Oh my God.
He just came back in for like maybe a minute or two. Yeah. And now he's gone back visiting everyone else that he knows here.
Yeah. He's the B-Muck, the big man on campus right now. Strolling the hallways. Do you see he's like a peacock out there, just puffing chest out and saying hi, high fives and stuff.
Got you a coffee.
Yeah.
He took you to go get a coffee from here. I didn't get one, by the way, so thanks, Hernan.
I kind of forced him because he gave us horrible directions to get in here. Oh my God, a GPS, he is not. He talked to me to get here like I had worked here for the past 10 years. You just go there. I'm like, where? What? No, he's awful at giving directions. I'd hate to go anywhere with him in a car.
Well, I asked him, like, where do we have to go today, Hernan? And he's like, Lot B. We'll then go to the team store. And so then I was driving here and realized, what's lot B? I don't know what lot B is. And so I text him lot B and he goes, tailgate. And then we're talking, I'm like, why did you just not say tailgate? Yeah. He's like, I did. And it's like, no, you did. You said lot B. and then
so in the rec center, I go, the rec center? What I didn't know this complex had a rec center in it. I know where concession 5, 7, and 9 are. If I had to meet there, I could do that. But this is the rec, and I'm walking through. I don't know, and finally someone came and grabbed me because I was walking around like a homeless person.
You should have heard him talking about how did people not know where the team store is? The team's right there. Well, yeah, because you worked down the hall for 2.5 years, dude.
Oh God.
So, but he's in his element right now, being back here, and I think we're in JMO's office that he was using. So it feels nice to kind of be a little
nice.
To Gage.
Yeah.
This or to Dave Jamieson, I should say. I'm also then.
Oh yeah, I know.
So this is all wonderful. Predictions for tonight. Do the Edmonton Oilers bounce back from the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets? Does this team get that first win in their first game without Connor McDavid for this season? Cass, what do you think we're going to see tonight?
Yeah, I think they do. I think it's a tight one. I think it's going to be one of the tighter games we see this season, but I think they come out on top. So if I'm going with a prediction, which who knows if it is accurate or not, complete shot in the dark, 4-2 Edmonton with an empty netter.
You got any feelings for tonight?
Oh yeah, this lines up really good for an Edmonton win. Terrible game last game. Your captain goes out. Everyone's a little bit more juice, and you're going into a place where you've had a lot of success. 5-2 Oilers win.
Once again, the Coolbet EST parlay. Draisaitl 1+ goals. Jeff Skinner 3+ shots on goal. Evan Bouchard 2+ shots on goal. And the Oilers to win plus 725. Click on exclusives. Go to the Sports Talk parlays, and that's where that one will be on Coolbet.com. Exclusively at Coolbet, as they always give us that nice little extra boost. Coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk, we got EST Afternoons with Gager and Hernan. We will bring you the press conference at 2:00 of Chris Morris live. I think I said Chris Preston at some point today, as I'm thinking about it. But Chris Morris being announced as the president, or introduced as the president of the Edmonton Elks. We'll have that at 2:00. At 3:00, it's the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Both those shows having chances to qualify for the EST Flyway to LA, presented by the 780. GCL Diesel Oil Stream at pregame show 5:00. Tommy Hernan and Cass as well. They will have the post-game show. This was Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction. Cass, have fun trick-or-treating and enjoy enforcing that daddy tax. Get in there.
I will. Thanks, guys.
Gager, have fun coming up. You're stuck with me a little bit more. On behalf of Cass, Gager, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to Two Guys and a Goalie, again, presented by GS Construction, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Coming up in just a few minutes, it's ESC Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. Don't go anywhere, and happy Halloween to everyone.